Okay, pause YouTube. SixftHax here, bringing you guys today our team builder for week number 6 of P4G Season 3, where your Durham Druddigons will be taking on the New York Marauders, coached by Mr.Talent himself, aka it's Nips, aka Drew, who has had a very great season so far in the P4G. I think he lost one match to Joey, and then he lost a second match, unfortunately, due to him missing a move with Durant when it really mattered. So I don't know if you really count that a loss, but he did unfortunately lose that game, so he's got 2 losses. But regardless though, Drew has been doing amazing this matchup, and I want to give a quick shout out to my main front office peep, Mr. Shuckle King 87. The man is a monster, so thank you to him for helping me touch up the final version of this draft, because for those of you who may not, actually I don't think any of you know, honestly, from the 8th of June to about the 17th of June, I'm gonna be out and away on vacation with my family. So I have to do like 7 league matches within the span of like 2 weeks. So my prep for this match may not be that great, but I still feel like we have a good enough prep to kind of prepare for everything that he may want to bring, they being our opponent, Mr. Talent, aka Drew. So if you guys may have missed our week 5 match, which was a fun meme battle, spoilers, there's going to be no more meme battles this season, okay? I promise we should be back to kind of like serious games or so. And yeah, besides that, there's going to be no more meme battles, so we're kind of back to the serious side of things for the season of the P4G. So this is going to be our team builder for that. So team matchup, of course, is below me. If you guys are excited for this, make sure to hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. You guys have been showing such amazing support to the team builders, guys. Thank you so much. Actually, in general, P4G matches and team builders have been doing absolutely amazing. So really, guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I really do mean it, man. It's kind of awesome. It's actually really awesome that you guys are enjoying P4G so much, because I'm having a lot of fun as well. So enough about that though. So let's take a look at the matchup. Now this matchup is very interesting because Drew has 3, I guess, very terrifying Pokemon. Heliolisk and Durant are the main 2 scary offensive threats in this game. Alolan Marowak is only really a problem if we lose our Marshtomp, if we were to bring it. And then from there on out, we can kind of really deal with everything else. Another thing about this matchup is that I honestly don't expect them to bring Durant and Lycanroc. Like, if you were to bring one or the other, then they need to be Z-move. Otherwise, they don't break through Steelix, which Steelix kind of deals with both of them if they're not Z-move. So that's why I don't expect both Lycanroc and Durant. If anything, I guess Durant most likely will be the one that he may want to bring as opposed to Lycanroc. Blastoise makes a lot of sense in this matchup because he originally has used Assault Vest Blastoise to deal with Nidoking, and this time he's got to deal with Nidoking. Plus, Assault Vest Blastoise also helps him check Noivern and Salazzle, so that makes a lot of sense. Or I guess just a very spadef bulky variant of Blastoise makes sense as well. Clefairy, I think, also has a good possibility of coming this game because it's really his best switching to Heracross and Noivern, as well as potentially our Umbreon if we were to bring it. Mudsdale also kind of makes a little bit of sense because with stamina, it could potentially try and check our physically offensive threats. A Sigilyph could be very terrifying depending on what set it's running, but I feel like a Focus Sash set makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure if he would really want to bring Calm Mind Sigilyph, so we gotta watch out for that. Chestnut, I guess, could come if he wants to spike stack us, and I really don't expect Dragonair or the Swalot this game. So with that being said, let's jump into this. Our first team member is going to be Marshtomp, aka Stretchy, making his return, rocking a nice physically defensive set here. And the main benefit, or the main job I should say, sorry, of Marshtomp is to deal with the Alolan Marowak. This can also pivot into Durant and Lycanroc to kind of keep them at bay if they're potential setup sets. And between Earthquake and Seismic Toss, we kind of hit everything on his team. Seismic Toss is really nice just because it does more damage than something like Waterfall or Scald would be doing to Blastoise and the Clefairy, potentially the Chestnut, Sigalith, maybe even Dragonair or Swalot. So Seismitoss is just kind of a good spammable move in this game, I think. And then Earthquake, of course, is able to hit the Alolan Marowak, which is really nice. The bit of speed is in case he is running some type of speed on his Alolan Marowak, because Marshtomp can naturally outspeed Alolan Marowak, which is great. So having that extra little bit of speed could very well come in handy this match. So our next team member is going to be Noivern here, aka Nate. And this, I think, was one of the final team members added to our squad. But the reason why I want to mention it so early right now is that Modest Life Orb Noivern 2-hit KOs everything that is not Assault Vest Blastoise, Mudsdale, or actually I think that's really it. Yeah, if it's not Assault Vest Mudsdale or Assault Vest Blastoise, even Spadef Bulky Clefairy is straight to a KO'd by Hurricane. Then again, it is Hurricane, so I need to be very, very careful with how I'm going to be using Hurricane in this matchup, because it is an absolute nuke, but it does have that 30% chance to miss. Now, another important thing about this matchup is that Durant, Lycanroc, and Heliolisk all do not need to run plus speed natures going into this game, which means they can run Adamant and Modest respectively, which makes them very, very terrifying. That's actually why I'm running Modest Noivern this time around, because even Modest Noivern still outspeeds Modest Heliolisk, Adamant Durant, and Adamant Lycanroc. So we can take that into our advantage, so we can do a bit more damage with our dual stabs in this game. Defog is really only there so we can potentially get rid of Spikes if he does want to try and hazard stack us, and then Roost could be nice to roost up onto potential switch-ins into the Clefairy, which I fully expect Clefairy to come to this match. Like, Clefairy has a really decent matchup regardless of what he wants to bring, honestly. So Roost can definitely come in handy in certain scenarios, but once Clefairy drops and we're able to weaken Assault Vest Mudsdale or Blastoise, which I believe he has brought both in the past few games that he's played, then we just click dual stabs and things just kind of die. There's really no way around it. So our next team member is going to be Chomp, aka Nidoking, and of course you guys know we needed to have something for Heliolisk. Modest Life Orb Heliolisk is so tremendously terrifying. Like, I do not expect him to run Specs, Z-Move, or Choice Scarf, because if he were to run Specs or Scarf, then he's locked into an electric type move, which we can take advantage of, and we already have 3 ground types. If he locks himself into Focus Blast, we get a free kill with Noivern or Nidoking. Or if he locks himself into Hyper Voice, we get a free switch into something like Steelix potentially, Rotom even, maybe Spadef, Bulky Umbreon, or like Assault Vested Slowking, sorry. I can't say the Pokemon's name for a second there, but yeah, like, there's so many downfalls of him bringing Scarf or Specs Heliolisk, I think, that Modest Life Orb just makes so much sense in my opinion. So that's kind of what I'm mainly preparing for in this matchup. So the great thing about us having Assault Vest being max Spadef, max HP, is that we can guarantee live any 2 hits from the Heliolisk. If he is able to get up rocks, we still tank 2 hits. If he gets up spikes though, then that's a little bit more iffy. If he gets up rocks and spikes and he catches us on a switch in with the Surf, then he does unfortunately straight to a KO us. But Heliolisk really has 4 move slot syndrome going into this game, because it wants to have Focus Blast for Umbreon, it wants to have Surf for like Steelix and Nidoking, it wants to have Electric Stab, it can still spam Hyper Voice potentially once we lose Steelix, it could also potentially click Grass Knot for our Marshtomp. Like, he's very limited on the 4 moves that he could exactly bring on Heliolisk, that if we're able to get up rocks and play around it accordingly, Nidoking should be able to get off enough damage onto it where it's in rocks range, or we can just kind of apply offensive pressure and not have to worry about it. But yeah, I really don't expect Specs or Scarf Heliolisk this match. Life Orb just, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense. Dual Stab, Thunderbolt hits everything, and then Sucker Punch is nice to pick off Heliolisk and potentially Durant as well. So our next team member is going to be Umbreon, aka OK, which is kind of a middle ground mon between our Marshtomp and our Nidoking. With this mixed defensive investment, if he doesn't have Focus Blast on the Heliolisk, then there's no real way that he can break through Umbreon. And even then, if he has Focus Blast, it's still Focus Blast. Like, he needs to hit 2 in a row in order to knock us out, and then from there I can maybe Moonlight, Foul Play, Toxic, Wish, and then we can just kind of take advantage of that, honestly. But the reason why we have Wish and Moonlight is because Wish is amazing for Nidoking and our Marshtomp mainly, and I guess we can pass it off to the rest of our team members, but it's mainly for those first two that I said. Moonlight is just an instant recovery, and there's not really too much that we needed on Umbreon. Between Toxic and Foul Play, we kind of deal with everything, honestly, that could switch into our Umbreon. Like, Toxic in general is really nice for the Mudsdale, Blastoise, Heliolisk, Marowak, Lycanroc, Chestnut, Dragonair if it's not Shedskin. With a bit of speed, we're able to outrun a almost max speed Marowak, but I don't think he would be running max speed Marowak in this match, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, Umbreon is just kind of a middle ground pivot mon, and it can also kind of support our other defensive mons in Marshtomp and Nidoking. So the next team member we have here is going to be Wingspan, aka Heracross, and this, I think, is the one set that me and Shuckle King just kind of kept flip-flopping between, because he mentioned that I should probably be Guts. If I was Guts Heracross, I might have gone Timid Noivern, but I personally feel like Heracross is a lot better in this matchup with an Adamant Scarf Moxie set, because if you really look at his team, once Clefairy is weakened, and once we weaken the Alolan Marowak, he does not exactly have anything to switch into Mega Horn or Close Combat. And if we do get rid of Marowak, we just click Close Combat. Well, I guess that's taken into consideration if we get rid of Sigilyph and get rid of the Violet and Clefairy. But I mean, the great thing about Knockoff is that we can hit Marowak, Sigilyph, and the Clefairy. Like, we get rid of the Violet on Clefairy, and then Noivern is able to more easily beat it, as well as Heracross if we are able to get a Moxie boost. But with our speed investment, we can outrun a potential Jolly Belly Drum Chestnut, which I'm not sure if he would bring Belly Drum Chestnut, but it's still kind of nice to be able to account for that, because if he were to bring it and we didn't prepare for it, then he could just sweep us. So I would still like to have some kind of measurement to deal with Belly Drum Chestnut, and then outside of that, we outspeed everything that is not Choice Scarf. We can even tank a +2 Lycanroc's Cellrock after Stealth Rocks, which could really come in clutch. But most importantly, we outspeed his speedy mons in Durant, Heliolisk, Sigilyph, and Lycanroc, which is absolutely amazing because Dual Stab, Knockoff hit all of those mons, and then Air Slash is kind of there if I really need the extra damage on the Chestnut. So this legitimately has a good shot of sweeping late game once things are broken down by Noivern and our final team member here, which is going to be Sub Nasty Plot Poisonium Z Salazzle. And as I mentioned, this and Noivern just destroy so much of his team. Salazzle can honestly force out so many things. It forces out Durant, Heliolisk, Clefairy, Chestnut, maybe even Sigilyph, and we can get up a sub. And then if we get up a sub and a Nasty Plot, we click Poisonium Z and we legitimately just get an Oko. Like, there's really no way around him being able to survive a +2 Poisonium Z, unless he does have Focus Sash on the Sigilyph, I suppose. But besides that, +2 Salazzle behind a sub just absolutely destroys him, and that's what I'm hoping that this set will be able to do. If I get up a sub, I can nasty plot, and then this pretty much just weakens his team for Heracross late game, or Noivern to come in to weaken the rest of his team, and then Heracross still wins regardless. So that's kind of really the main thing that Salazzle is going to be doing in this game. I do believe the speed is to guarantee outspeeding his fastest mon, which is Lycanroc, which could very well come in handy, because if we are behind a sub, obviously he's not going to be able to do anything to us with the Excel Rock, and then we may be able to finish him off with Sludge Wave, sorry, or the Flamethrower. So yeah, guys, that is going to be our team builder for week number 6 of P4G Season 3. Let me know in the comment section below what are the 6 mons you would have brought to this matchup, and of course, as always, guys, hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. Team builders have been doing great, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this, and I will see you all tomorrow with the actual battle itself. So later, everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends, it's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6-foot-Hax. 6 foot hacks, hacks. Yeah. 6 foot hacks, hacks.